Today we're looking at test footage using Vaxis and Tilta Illusion diffusion filters in conjunction with the Tilta Mirage matte box system. We'll cover an A-roll and B-roll scene for each filter, compare and contrast effects, and I'll give my final thoughts. On the left we have an A-roll scene and on the right a B-roll scene. For the A-roll scene we will be looking at how the diffusion filters affect skin. For the B-roll we will be looking at how the filters affect light blooming, color, contrast, and resolution reduction. The first filter is the Pearlaura 1/8. Since 1/8 is the lightest strength, there is not much of an effect on the skin, but heavier strengths could give a glowing and smoothing effect to skin. To my eye, on the right image, there is some contrast reduction and resolution reduction, with a good amount of blooming around the B7C bulbs and a slight cooling effect on the colors. The second filter is the Pure Mist 1/8. Still not much of a difference to the skin, but there is more blooming around the B7Cs compared to the Pearlaura 1/8. On the right, I see better contrast and sharpness relative to the Pearlaura, but still a reduction from no filter. Third is the Black Mist 1/8. Not much effect on the skin at this strength. Less blooming than the Pure Mist and a warming effect on the image, especially when I look at the blacks around the color checker video text. Following this is the Glimmer 1/8. Here, if I focus in on the pores of my nose, it seems to have a bit of a smoothing effect. The Glimmer 1/8 has less light bloom than the last three filters, a bit more resolution reduction when looking at the color checker video text, and more of a warming effect than even the Black Mist, which is surprising. Now we have the Tiffen Glimmer Glass 1, which is the filter I've used on all my previous videos, so I thought it was appropriate to include. I don't see a huge difference in terms of skin smoothing on the nose, but my overall face seems cooler. This is reflected when looking to the right around the color checker video text. The Tiffen Glimmer Glass 1 has the second most blooming effect behind the Pure Mist 1/8, a large reduction in contrast similar to the Pearlaura 1/8, and a much cooler tone than the Black Mist 1/8 and Glimmer 1/8. Presently we are looking at the Digital Diffusion 1/8. It looks to have potentially the most skin smoothing effect when looking at the pores on my nose. There is a slight bit of blooming around the light source, but less than what we have seen from the rest of the filters so far. A bit of contrast reduction and less resolution reduction than I would have assumed with the way it renders skin. Finally, we have the Digital Dynamic Diffusion 1/8. It is supposed to act similar to Digital Diffusion, but with more sharpness, which I can see in the face and color checker video text. It is also supposed to retain some subtle elements of more pronounced diffusion filters, which is very vague. What I do see is that the Digital Dynamic Diffusion has less blooming than all the other filters, including the Digital Diffusion. Overall, in terms of skin softening effect, there is not much difference between the filters. However, the Digital Diffusion 1/8 seems to smooth out the pores in my nose the most. Second would be the Glimmer 1/8, and third, the Tiffen Glimmer Glass 1. With respect to light bloom, Pure Mist 1/8 is strongest. Second is Pearlaura 1/8. Close behind is Tiffen Glimmer Glass 1. Then Black Mist 1/8. After that, Glimmer 1/8. Digital Diffusion 1/8. And lastly, Digital Dynamic Diffusion 1/8. In terms of color, the Black Mist and Glimmer 1/8 have a warm shift. The Pearlaura 1/8 and Tiffen Glimmer Glass 1 have a cool shift, and the Digital Diffusion and Digital Dynamic Diffusion 1/8 stay neutral. In terms of contrast reduction, the Glimmer Glass 1, Pearlaura 1/8, and Pure Mist are the worst, respectively. For resolution, I have mixed feelings. I would think that better skin smoothing effect would translate to more resolution reduction on the color checker, but this does not seem to be the case. What I will say, however, is that there is some level of resolution reduction on all the filters, but the Digital Dynamic Diffusion 1/8 has the least. For my work on YouTube, I'm always looking for something to take the digital edge off my footage without adding the blooming effect. Therefore, I'm more intrigued with the higher strengths of the digital diffusion variants. However, for those looking to maximize bloom, Pure Mist is your best bet, although I think Tiffen Glimmerglass 1 and Pearlaura's bloom look smoother. If you got value from this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.